Hello and welcome to ScaleUp Radio Shorts. I'm Kevin Brent, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host and co-creator of Smart 90, Louise Blunt. This is the podcast where we distill the very best golden nuggets from my recent interviews with business founders, giving you actionable insights to help you scale your own business.
Hi Kevin, it's great to be here. ScaleUp Radio Shorts is brought to you by Smart 90, the proven 90-day execution system for scaling businesses. And today we're doing something a little bit different. Kevin, you recently had three incredible, insightful conversations on the main ScaleUp Radio show with Andreas Voniatis, Benjie Hughes and Serge Nguele. And they all came from slightly different corners of the digital and marketing worlds, but the overlapping themes of strategy, resilience, and scaling are just so deeply interconnected.
They really are, Louise. All three of these founders have fascinating backstories and unique takes on what it actually means to grow a business. My aim today is for us to compare and contrast those lessons and hopefully tease our listeners enough that they go back and listen to the original full-length interviews.
Absolutely. Let's dive straight in. One theme that really stood out to me across your conversations with both Serge and Benjie was this idea of strategy over hope, particularly when it comes to marketing and business growth. Benjie's agency is literally called Hopeless Marketing, isn't it?
It is. And there is a very deliberate clue in the title. Benjie explained that his agency is built on the premise that hope is not a strategy. He talked about how marketers often over-index on just getting the word out and making a business highly visible, completely ignoring whether it's actually the right plan. He shared a great story about a high-end manufacturer that acquired a low-end, high-volume company. They just wanted to push ads out to combine the brands. But Benjie realized later he should have told them that simply buying visibility without a clear separated strategy was going to confuse their audience and fail to generate leads.
Which aligns perfectly with your interview with Serge Nguele, the founder of your PPC Doctor. I love how Serge leans into his background. He originally studied medicine in Ukraine before pivoting into marketing in France. He's brought that medical mindset right into his digital practice.
Spot on. Serge made such a profound point. We can't prescribe what we didn't diagnose. He mentioned how so many business owners and marketing leaders just try to plug in more budget, operating under the illusion that spending more money on pay-per-click ads will magically fix their problems. Both Serge and Benjie highlighted that pouring budget into a confusing message or a lack of strategy just leads to waste. Serge insists on doing a full digital diagnosis first to understand the holistic picture before spending a single penny on media.
It's so true. Benjie actually framed it as a means, motive, and opportunity problem, like solving a crime. Most businesses focus entirely on the opportunity, getting in front of people, but they completely forget the motive. Why should someone buy from you? If your homepage is cluttered with 10 different ideas you've had over the last 5 years, the clarity is gone and people won't act.
Exactly. Benjie calls it being an ice pick versus a snowshoe. If you want to break through the noise, you have to be sharp and focused on the one thing that makes you interesting, rather than trying to be everything to everyone. He even brought up Nike as an example. They sell a lot of different things, but they lead with shoes first.
And speaking of breaking through the noise, we have to talk about Andreas Voniatis. If Benjie and Serge were talking about strategic clarity, Andreas is talking about the fundamental shift in how people are going to find you in the first place online. And he's the founder of Artios, an AI-driven SEO agency. And his story pretty much blew my mind. He was building a large language model back in 2019, years before ChatGPT even existed, certainly on the public domain.
He really was. Andreas retrained as a data scientist and essentially saw the writing on the wall for traditional search engines. He explained that the days of the 10 blue links are dying, being replaced by AI summaries. And according to Andreas, traditional SEO, where you just look at the top 10 articles on Google and try to write a slightly better version, simply won't work anymore.
So what is his solution for businesses trying to scale their visibility now?
He calls it generative engine optimization, and it all comes down to something he terms information gain. In simple terms, AI wants fresh water. It wants to be fed unseen insights that tell the world something new. You can't just prompt engineer an AI to write your content and expect another AI to rank it. Andreas compared that to asking AI to drink its own sweat. If businesses want to survive this shift, they have to use proprietary data and genuine insights.
That is a brilliant analogy and a stark warning for anyone just churning out basic AI content on LinkedIn, expecting it to build credibility. But Kevin, Beyond the marketing and the technology, what I really loved about listening to these three interviews was the raw honesty about the founder's journey itself. Scaling a business takes a massive personal toll, and I know Serge was incredibly vulnerable with you about his own experiences.
He was, and I really respected him for sharing it. Serge admitted that trying to wear all the hats, the commercial director, the PPC activator, the business owner, eventually led him to a breaking point. He almost burned himself out completely.
How did he pull himself out of that?
He had to actively start looking after himself, and crucially, he asked for help by going to therapy. He also has a fantastic personal philosophy that he builds his running club around, which he calls his 3 no's. No excuses, no complaint, and no self-pity. For him, running was the safety net that kept him going when the business side was overwhelming. It's a great reminder that as founders, if we don't look after our physical and mental health, the business suffers too.
I think every founder listening to this can relate to that feeling of hitting the wall. Benjie experienced a different kind of wall, didn't he? He talked about the predictable success model, climbing a hill where you can easily fall off either side if you don't balance the visionary energy with the integration and systems energy.
Yes, Benji is highly self-aware. He realized early on that he's very much a visionary. He loves sitting at a whiteboard dreaming up 100 ideas, but he struggles with the execution side. In his current agency, to stop himself from spiraling and chasing every shiny new idea, he hired a fractional chief operating officer to act as an integrator. He described this COO as the pool wall that an Olympic swimmer pushes off of someone solid who won't budge, allowing Benji to propel forward.
That interdependency is so vital. It's exactly what Stephen Covey talks about, moving from independence to interdependency to really achieve greatness, which Andreas also brought up in your interview with him. And speaking of Andreas, his dedication to his business almost borders on the extreme. To bootstrap his agency and afford top-tier engineers, he was taking out 6-figure loans, doing consultancy on the side, and sacrificing a lot of sleep.
Extreme is the right word, Louise. Andreas revealed that he actually does a 100-hour fast every single week. From Sunday evening to Thursday midnight, he consumes no food just to save time, reduce his need for sleep, and maintain mental clarity. He even cured a severe bout of gout through this lifestyle change. Now, I'm not suggesting our listeners immediately stop eating for 4 days a week, but it shows the level of absolute conviction Andreas has in his vision for the future of AI.
It is incredible what drives people and the lengths they will go. Serge is driven by a desire to serve and to give back. He donates 10% of his profits to charity and helps not-for-profits access a $10,000 a month Google Ads grant, which is something so many small charities don't even know exist.
I highly recommend everyone goes back and listens to the full episode with Serge just for that segment alone. If you know a charity that could use a digital boost, the Google Ad grant information is pure gold.
Let's circle back to the mechanics of scaling, because that's what Smart 90 is all about. Benjie shared some fantastic insights from a previous business he owned, a wedding entertainment company that he scaled to 250 events a year. How did he manage to step away from the day-to-day operations of that?
He applied a concept called the trifecta of scalability, which is evaluating whether your service is teachable, valuable, and repeatable. Because he was running a creative business providing DJs, he had to figure out how to teach others his specific way of delivering a high quality experience without stamping out their individual personality. So he said the key wasn't teaching them the craft of mixing music, but teaching them the customer service aspect, how to make a bride feel cared for in the month leading up to the wedding. If you can systemize the value and teach it to others, the business becomes repeatable, and suddenly you are no longer the bottleneck.
It's the classic e-myth struggle. Founders start a business because they are great technicians, but to scale, they have to transition out of doing the work to actually building the system that does the work. Benjie said he realized he didn't want to do the work. He wanted to empower others to do it.
Which is exactly why he focuses his current agency on companies hitting that midway point up the growth hill, companies experiencing what he calls whitewater. They've grown to a point where the founder can no longer be the only one doing the selling and the doing. They need to simplify their message so the rest of the team can talk about the business clearly when the founder isn't in the room.
There is so much value in all three of these interviews, Kevin. We've got Serge reminding us to diagnose our business clearly before prescribing expensive marketing treatments and the importance of a resilient mindset. We've got Andreas showing us the absolute bleeding edge of AI search and the necessity of creating genuinely new, insightful content. And we've got Benjie showing us how to strip away the noise, focus on an ice pick message, and build a scalable team.
I couldn't have summarized it better myself, Louise. These guys are true experts in their fields, and the full episodes go into so much more depth, from Andreas explaining how he built machine learning models to beat the S&P 500 to Benjie's favorite productivity hacks using the getting things done methodologies.
So, to our listeners, if these snippets have whet your appetite, please go and seek out the full-length interviews. You can find them by searching for ScaleUp Radio, wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. Make sure you hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss any of our future episodes featuring fantastic founders like Andreas, Benjie, and Serge.
And remember, generating these insights is one thing, but executing on them is another entirely. If you're tired of ending the week busy but no further forward, then Smart 90 might be for you. It's a simple 90-day execution rhythm with an AI alignment check that keeps your daily focus tied to what actually matters. Try it free at smart90.co.uk, at smart90.co.uk.
Thanks for listening to Scale Up Radio Shorts, and we'll catch you on the next episode.